Right, ladies and gentlemen, coming on a bit early today because we have a sprint race over the short qualifying session here in Extinguished Motorsports. Let me just turn the gain up. But yes, we have a sprint over a short qualifying tonight. Should take about the same time, but a bit of a different format. And of course, the race coming straight your way. 12 laps of the Mexico City circuit. And a sub from Don Pedrito to kickstart the stream. Thank you very much, Don Pedrito. Appreciate it, mate. Welcome back in to the chat. Drew here as well. The man, the myth, the legend. Hello. And a few others as well. Deck, of course, having issues. He's on a new account. Jack107 tonight is his account. And a few new drivers here as well. What is happening? Good to see you, mate. Are you saying what's happening? Is there something wrong with the stream, or are you just saying what's good? What's up? It's good to see you anyway. Hopefully we can have a nice stream tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully the mic sounds alright too. But like I mentioned then, here in Extinguished, we've got a sprint qualifying session. A sprint session, and then we have a 50% race. So should take about the same time. My bad, just saying what's up. No worries, mate. All good, all good. I'm on my laptop again tonight, so sometimes I do worry that it's not going to work properly. I realised last week I was streaming at 720p, so I've changed it to 1080 on the laptop. Hopefully it can handle it. It's looking alright so far, so we'll see. But if I remember, last week was pretty good and Extinguished. I'll pop up the finishing results. But it was, of course, the usual standard short qualifying in a 50% race. Today is a sprint, and that is 12 laps of racing to kickstart the day off. We should have a formation lap to get them off the line, and then we'll have the 5 red lights after that one slow lap. As I'm going to have a look at the results from last week then. Last week was Zandvoort, of course, driver of the day, Red 44 Dog. I think he went from P10 to like P3, P4. Yeah, P4 then for Red Dog with starting 10th on the grid. He had a very nice race. Decker's then finishing on the podium in 3rd from 7th on the grid. Pepe's from 6th, then finished 2nd, and Don Pedrito from 3rd on the grid managed to take pole at the end of Zandvoort, as Ferrari for Life was the man on pole, but he, in the end, did not finish anywhere near the top 10. As we have your formation lap then, everybody. And we're going to be getting into your racing action now then. Formation lap, sprint race to come your way first of all, and then your 50% race. We'll take about the same time, and then of course after the race we have your interviews of the top 3 drivers. 13 people joining us this evening then here in the Mexico City, and of course massive run down in towards turn 1. This is going to be an exciting one indeed, with Leeboy QAV then starting from the front in the Ferrari, and in Zandvoort looking like he was going to do a decent job, but unfortunately, you know, did not end up going his way. Can this be the redemption then for Leeboy QAV? No pit stops needed, of course, in the sprint race. This is a shootout till the end, and he's got absolutely all the chances he needs here then for that first win of league racing ever. Not just Extinguished Motorsports, but ever. His first ever league racing win, and he's opted to start on the hards then here in Mexico, where a track that can eat up the tyres very, very quickly. A few starting on the mediums then towards the back. We've got Davey starting in 2nd place. He's on the mediums, as well as Red 44 Dog then. He's on them as well. And Pepe's, Passy, Don Pedrito, Ponton, who's new, and Andrew Pittsmith on the mediums. Everybody else opting for the hards, including Deckers, who starts 8th position in this sprint race. I believe this is reverse championship order grid. It's looking that way, as of course Leeboy is your leader, and I don't think he's scored any points or much points recently, and very new to Extinguished as well. But this could be his chance if he can get it good off the line. Of course, he's got Davey behind him that he's got to try and fend off. He's on the medium compound tyres, and if he gets a better run down in towards turn 1, it is a huge, huge run. And Davey might just have a chance here, but can Leeboy keep him back? It's all about the start here for the drivers. Leeboy, the man in P1 then. As we watch from the front, 12 laps of racing coming your way then in the sprint race, ladies and gentlemen, here in Mexico City. Reverse championship order, and Leeboy off the line then on pole, and it's a good start from him down into turn one. Huge run. He's got to try and keep Davey behind then in towards the first corner. Leeboy with a brilliant jump on him then. He's using a lot of battery here to try and stay in front as he goes into the first corner. Still as your leader, Davey holding second place then behind. Owen holds into third, but a brilliant move from him then on the hard compound. He holds third place. Strado racing in four then with Passy just behind him, and loads of carnage going on behind that. Up the inside line, there's a kick. Sauber looking for a move. I think it was Don Pedrito now who's been overtaken by many drivers. Andrew Pittsmith on his outside line here, but through goes Pepe's into P9 in a brilliant move. He's now up, and somebody in front. It's Passy that's gone around. Passy then losing his rears on the first lap of the sprint race, everybody, but we go back to the front, and it is Leeboy QAV with an astonishing start today in the hard compound tyres. He is the leader of this sprint right now, 1.2 seconds ahead, and a very good jump, of course. That is going to be out of DRS then for Owen at this moment in time. Davey, who started second place, has dropped a place on the mediums. You'd expect him to be doing better, but they're not, you know, behave in the way that he wants them to do. And if they're not good on the first lap, they're going to be awful towards the end. Of course, no pit stops scheduled in this sprint race, so he needs to make those tyres work. He's got not a lot of time to really work with them. Here we go then, looking up the inside line with the V-carb on the Alpine. Up the inside, I'm not entirely sure who that was. I think it was Percival there, looking for a move, and it is it's Deckers now at the back of the grid, as Jack, of course, tonight in the second account. He now looks the inside line of Percival, and of course, huge run, lots of room then for the Alpine. He makes a brilliant move into P12, but can he hold it then? It's up the inside, switching back. Percival looks for it, but not enough room then to actually cement that move. And he stays behind in P13 at the minute. Looking back up to the front then, it has been a monumental start for Leeboy QAV, who leads the sprint race here in Mexico. Brilliant start. 0.6 of a second though to Owen, who is trying to claw back that gap. He was out of DRS zone, and now he is well within the range. Owen now will be picking up the DRS down this back straight through the middle sector, of course, and then on to the final few corners in the last sector. We've got the stadium section coming up, and this is where the DRS gets activated then for Owen. The rear wing opens up, of course, and the downforce is just incredible. Straight line speed is, of course, optimized for Owen there as he tries to gain and close up to Leeboy QAV, just not enough in it on the second lap of 12 then at this minute in time. Red 44 Dog has been disqualified from the session. He's now down at the back in P13 and out of the sprint race this evening. Not entirely sure how that happened to him, but he's gone and leaves us with 12 drivers left racing. Deckers then with the fastest lap of the sprint at the minute. Leeboy fending off the Williams of Owen right now. 0.3 of a second, and that DRS has really brought him within range now. This could be worrying for the Ferrari, as he's got a Williams behind him with a lot of speed and a lot of battery as well, as opposed to Lee with only 30% left in his car. Then Owen with a good 60% and managing to save well as well behind Leeboy here in non-ERS mode, of course, where the car can regenerate that battery that it needs. And it's working well for Owen. This is looking good. We are lap 3 of 12. And all in the favour then of the Williams at the minute as Leeboy leads in the Ferrari. And a 0.4 of a second gap now could be worrying for the race leader, as we have got a good dose of DRS all the way down here. And Owen's going to use it to his advantage then. A lot of battery as well, but he's still in non here, saving as much as he can because he knows the long straight coming up down in towards turn 1. And that was a very good call for him, because look how close he is already on the Ferrari. Not enough for a move just yet, but he's right on the rears. And now on to the main straight, ladies and gentlemen. This is Owen's time on the backside of Leeboy QAV for the lead in this sprint race. He's going to use his battery. Leeboy's going to use what he can as well. He's in the medium ERS mode, but he's going to be really struggling here to keep the Williams behind. Owen with a good run and the DRS as well. A bit of battery to help him for good measure. Up the inside line for Owen. He takes the lead in the sprint race then here in Mexico City. A brilliant move, but Leeboy's going to try and switch it back underneath. He's not done fighting just yet, but the Ferrari is now out of that P1 battle. Owen leads the sprint race this evening, lap 4 of 12, and a brilliant move. He's now 1/10 of a second over the Ferrari. Is it going to stick that way, though, as he's looking for another move as soon as he can? And that's a bit of a mistake there from Owen. Leeboy looks up the inside, but just not enough gap just yet. But good thing for the Ferrari, he's right on the rears, and a slight mistake from the Williams, and he's in the right place to really capitalise on the situation. Speed Freak sat in third at the minute then in the Racing Bull. He's had a good start, but he has got a 3-second time penalty, which will be very bad for his race, put simply, because, of course, how closely these guys are running, and there's no pit stops as well to throw a spanner in the works. Everyone's running pretty close, and a 3-second time penalty in Formula 1 terms means you lose a hell of a lot of places. So Speed Freak isn't looking like he's going to finish on that podium place at this moment in time. Dom Pedrito then running in P6, having a bit of a nice race right now. He's on the medium compound of tyres, and position changes for him. He's up 5 since the start. 11th place. This man started, and he's now gunning down for his 12th place gain. Here comes Dom Pedrito on the main straight up the inside. He very easily takes that P5 then. Does the kick Sauber in a brilliant move once again. Now 6 places gained, ladies and gentlemen, for Dom Pedrito as he's up once again. 1.3 seconds now. So the man in front, a bit of work to do, but with 7 laps remaining, he has got more than enough time. Absolutely has. But Owen then is your leader of the sprint race here in Mexico City by a good little margin at the minute, nearly 0.8 of a second between Leeboy QAV, who, as you know, started on pole, but seeming to struggle. Of course, he is back in the championship standings, and some of the drivers that are now making their way up towards him are of the quicker pace, leading the championship and higher up in the championship standings. Lee is just trying to fight now and hold on to what he can, but it very much could be a podium for him, and that is what he's waiting for. Of course, no interviews for the sprint race, but we do have interviews for the race. We might just get him in there if he can pull off a good one tonight, but it hasn't gone well in the previous races. Is this the final, the final stepping stone for him? Can he do it? Hopefully he can. We'd love to speak to him in the interview room. We are halfway through the sprint then, everybody. Leeboy gaining on the Williams, but it isn't enough for a move just yet. 3/10 now is the gap as it closes in. As he just edges himself a little bit closer. This is better though for Pepe's then. Doesn't know which way to go, and the kick Sauber moving then, under braking there a little bit. Pepe's now trying to make his way through, looking for a bit of a gap, but the kick Sauber closes the door on him, and Dom Pedrito, no moves at all being allowed on him then as he gets very wide, and no move at all is made as Pepe's cannot get through. No room. 1/10 of a second then was improved there for Pepe's Passy with a 3-second time penalty, and he's down in P11, so that isn't really going to matter to him. He's out of the points anyway, and today's race hasn't been amazing for him. He's down 1 place since the start. P10 is where he started, meaning he's 4th in the World Championship standings here in Extinguished Motorsports. All round then goes the Aston Martin, and Davey, who started on 2nd place, is all the way down in P11, everybody, from P10 just then, spinning around, making a small mistake, and that is another place lost for him, all the way down to P11 for the Aston Martin. 9 places lost, and it's gone very badly indeed. Passy now gets the same treatment. He goes round again, and the Haas car this time doesn't lose a place, but he has lost a lot of time to Ponton in front, who is 7.9 seconds. Mackie joins us in the chat tonight. Good to see you, mate. Always sticking around now. It's good to see you back. There's a long line of drivers into turn 1. This is the sprint race then, if you're just joining us, and lap 7 of 12 with Owen, your leader, by 0.6 of a second and looking the favourite for a win at the minute. But it doesn't always go the way it looks, and Leeboy could crawl it. He could get it back. He's got 0.6 of a second then. A little bit off then through that exit. Wasn't really exactly how he'd planned it. But with 81% battery, a little bit more than Owen here, then this could be a very good thing for Leeboy. Burning a bit here then to try and gain as in the medium for Owen. We've got Leeboy burning all of his battery, doing what he can to gain here, and a bit of DRS to help him there. But the main dose will be down the main straight, and a huge run could just allow Leeboy a move here, ladies and gentlemen. Both of them with a lot of battery. Owen actually with 100% now, both in non. And up towards the line, here we go. Then this will be the true teller of it. Which one can manage the battery better? Which one can use the battery better? All the way down into the first corner. Using a bit of battery for Leeboy then, as well as the DRS to try and help him make a move here. But still, with a 0.2 of a second gap, he's going to gain. But it's just not enough road at the end of the main straight there to make that pass. But even then, he's right on the backside of him. Not a great line through the first few corners then, as he does lose a bit of time to the race leader on lap 8 of 12. But a very nice sprint race at the minute here in Mexico City, where we're watching Lee Boy with a potential chance of winning his first ever race. He's still not out of this, and he's on the backside of the Williams of Owen at the minute. He really could do this, ladies and gentlemen. As Mac in the chat, you missed my win yesterday. Oh, mate, I do apologise. Yesterday, Tuesday... Oh, my birthday. That's why I wasn't commentating. My apologies, mate. I do apologise. But I will be back next Tuesday, as we've got Deckers then, ladies and gents, who's in P4 at the minute and making a few places up. He's up 4 places since the start, and he was actually further back than that at some point, so he's really clawed it back. And the Alpine driver with a bit of a penalty, which isn't going to be too good for him, and Stray Dog's right behind here. Stray Dog could be taking P4 at this rate. It was looking like P3 there, but I've just seen the gap between Deck and Speed Freak pretty big. Cheers, Mackie. I appreciate it, mate. Into the turn 1 again, then Lee Boy's just not got enough speed there to make that pass, and we're just waiting to see if it is possible, or can Owen hold it out till the end. Yellow flags in the middle section, and Andrew Pittsmith has gone around. He's at the back of the track now, back of the grid as well, and the Haas driver in P12, up 1 place since where he started. Still, he leads the World Championship then here in Extinguished Motorsports, but still finishing in P12 at this moment in time, back of the grid. Lee Boy is not letting this go. I really do believe he's got a chance here to make his way through. A bit of a better battery saving there for Owen, and of course into this final sector. He does tend to put it in non in a minute. He's going to use a bit of battery there to help get in front. Lee Boy uses a little bit more than to gain. Both of them now switch to non and gain what they can and regenerate everything in through the stadium section, where they're going to use it all the way down the main straight. And this is where Owen beats Lee Boy every single time. He just always has that extra bit of battery over Lee Boy. And around the final corner, the rear is sliding out for the Ferrari, and that is going to be the final nail in the coffin, I believe, for Lee Boy. He's going to have to burn nearly all he's got here to gain. And the gap getting ever bigger. Into turn 1 we go. Then on lap 12, on lap 10 of 12, I think it's slipping away from the grasp of Lee Boy as we look to the back then, and somebody been overtaken a few times there. Look at this from Ponton then, looking to get through past Davey. As the Aston Martin holding this place very nicely indeed at the moment. Oh, Passy with a 3-second time penalty. Penalties are not what you want to be getting around here. Then is up the inside line then for the kick sour, and a very easy move then on Davey, who you can clearly see has very bad wing damage. No end plates on either side, and that is why he's struggling. Down 8 places since the start from 2nd place. And this track, of course, very corner heavy in some aspects. And that is, of course, why he is struggling so much. Lee Boy, 38% battery as opposed to Owen's 60, and this is where he's lacking here. He really is lacking. Just not enough battery. Not enough battery, and I don't know if the exit's good enough at the minute to get in front. On the main straight again, 70% for Owen, already burning out at the final corner. I don't think it's possible. The penultimate lap of the sprint race begins then, and Owen still as your leader. It's looking like he's going to go ahead and take that win very nicely indeed today. He started 4th place on the grid, and he's made a brilliant comeback, of course, up to P1. This is looking like a very easy win for him. Round goes Passy then, who just picked up a penalty, and it's a puncture for the rear left then, and the mediums are just showing why they are not the favoured side here in Mexico. Rear left puncture then for Passy as he hits the wall again. He's going to be making his way into the pit lane, and that will be a race-ending problem there for him. Passy spins around. He just cannot get it to the pit lane, backwards into the barrier. And that is it for him. Passy then is going to be out of the Grand Prix, of the sprint race, my bad, sorry, as we go on to lap 11 the final lap in a minute, with your leader Owen. And we do lose Passy then, who is quite high up in the World Championship standings, and now suffers a rear left puncture on the medium compound of tyres, and that is why most drivers have started on the hards, because of course the degradation around this track is crazy bad. In the pit lane then for Passy, and that will round off his sprint race as the final lap of the Mexico City Sprint begins here in Extinguished Motorsports, and one final lap for Leeboy then to do what he can and make that overtake the final pass. Oh, that was not very good for Owen there, nearly losing his rears. Leeboy is going to catch on him here, but a very small amount of battery on him, and he does pick up his first penalty of the day. 3-second penalty to Leeboy. And that is going to be pretty much the end, ladies and gentlemen. Owen now has not got a lot of competition. He's got some drivers behind, but all with a time penalty. He's one of the only remaining ones at the top that hasn't got one. And when he crosses the line, he will comfortably win this sprint race today. He just has to maintain this position and not lose that much time. He's in a perfect place at the minute, is Owen, as he's driven an absolutely sensational sprint race from the start. Managed to get himself into one and secured his place. Knew exactly what his mission was today, and he's done it brilliantly, keeping Leeboy from making that overtake towards the end. And he's going to try again, but even if he gets past, just isn't going to be worth anything anymore because of that 3-second time penalty, which has been the nail in the coffin then. But here's Owen then, ladies and gentlemen, in the Williams with an absolutely sensational sprint race this evening. And who knows what he can do in the Grand Prix tonight. Owen over the line. He wins the sprint race here in Mexico City. Leeboy comes home for a close second place. And Speed Freak on the podium then in third in the Racing Bull. A brilliant sprint for the drivers as the top three finish much earlier than everybody else there. Decker's over the line, finishes fourth place from 8th on the grid. Pepe's 5, Stray Dog finishes in P6, then decent finish for Stray Dog. Don Pedrito 7, Percival 8, 9 is Davey, 10 Andrew Pittsmith, 11 Ponton, 12 is Passy as he loses his rears towards the line, and that will round off your sprint race. Oh, it's Andrew Pittsmith towards the line, my bad. But that will round off your sprint race tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Absolutely brilliant action. But now we are going to have your 50% race coming up in a minute. Here we are then, everybody. Mexico City sprint race has concluded then, and Owen takes the win with 8 points taken from that one today. Leeboy second place, and third is Speed Freak. Then it is Decker's 4, Pepe's 5, Stray Dog P6, 7 is Don Pedrito, 8 Percival, 9 Andrew Pittsmith, and 10 is Davey to round off your top 10, everybody. Absolutely lovely sprint into the Grand Prix in a few moments' time. I'll put you on the Grand Prix starting soon, Scream. And we'll be back before you know it. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, we've just had your sprint race. Coming up next is your 50% race. Like I mentioned earlier, little bit of a different format today. We would have had a short qualifying session normally, which is about 18 minutes of course, just fast laps. But now we've had a sprint race, which is a little bit different, but always spices things up a little bit. And now going into the Grand Prix, which I believe should be the sprint finishing order as your starting grid for this. That should be how it is, I believe. But we'll find out. That's how most leagues do it. Oh, no, never mind. A one-shot qualifying session, everybody. I did not know about this. Was not on the thing. Never mind. One-shot qualifying then. Here we go. This is going to be the true teller of the pace for tonight then, everybody. We did see Leroy finish second. We saw Owen take the sprint win. Of course, it was reverse championship order. This is a normal qualifying one lap around. But of course, no other chances. This has to be right then for the drivers. As at the minute, Deckers is looking quick at the front. Speed Freak now as the racing bull. He leads in this one shot, but you can never quite tell until the end. It changes around quite a lot. Deckers looking to be the quickest at the moment in the Alpine then. And we could see another Deckers great race tonight. Speed Freak's trying to challenge him though. And I'm going to let this one shot play out, everybody, because you can never quite tell. But it is looking right in the favour of Deckers and Speed Freak at the minute as they're battling, jockeying then into these corners now. As over the line, then it is going to be Deckers who takes pole. Then everybody with a 1:16.5. Deck on pole on a second account, but he does come here today then. Pole position taken for the Mexico City Grand Prix. And now this is going to be a brilliant showdown. Speed Freak takes second place. Passy lines up third. Red 44 Dog Den, who started 10th in the last Grand Prix in Zandvoort now, with a lovely jump up into fourth. Owen 5. It is Ponton P6. Perceivable 7. Don Pedrito 8. 9. Andrew Pittsmith. And 10 is Davey. Then it's Pepe's. Leeboy QAV down in P12. And 13 is Stray Dog 3 Racing at the back of the grid then. Going into the Mexico City Grand Prix. Going into that in a few moments' time. Deck on pole then going into this one, looking massively in the favour of him tonight, and clearly he likes Mexico. We're going to be going into this one then with a 50% race. We had a sprint race, of course, before, which was 12 laps, so we're looking into the 30s, I believe, for this race. Yeah, 30, maybe early 30s, late 30s. We will find out, but it's not a very long lap then here in Mexico City. Can't believe I got pole, mate. I'm happy for you. I'm really, really happy for you. Just got to now make it worthwhile in the race. It is a very, very long time, of course. 40 minutes, a long time to keep yourself in front, and with the strategies, get them right. Safety cars, of course, can come into play and mess things up completely. But we do love a good safety car here in the commentary box. We really, really do. Makes things a lot more exciting now and then. Of course, bring some people back into the action as well. And I might as well take a quick time to talk about everybody. The JCC events, we are doing the Easter race as the formation lap begins. We are going to be doing the Easter race now. We did the Christmas race in December. Now we're going to be doing the Easter race at the very end of March. And it is £10 entry. But of course, the winner gets £100, £50 second place, third place is £25. We're doing it all over again, and we've already got a few sign-ups. It is going to fill up very fast. If that interests you, send me a message. It's going to be happening on the 28th of March, of course, in a few weeks' time. So get yourself signed up for that if you're interested. A good chance to win a lot of money then, and that is not something you see very often then here in Formula One sim racing, of course. But the formation lap then about to conclude, everybody. And here in Mexico, we're going to be getting into that long-awaited Grand Prix. Jack then, of course, who is Decker's tonight on a second account. He took pole very well indeed over Speed Freak. And we head up towards the line now as they line up on the grid and we get ready to go racing finally with the drivers here in Extinguished Motorsports. We've been itching to go, waiting, of course, after that sprint race, which was won by Owen. Now he lines up 5th on the grid then, which is not too bad. He does line up a bit awkwardly on the track and get offsetted a little bit off his grid box there, so we'll lose a little bit of track going into the first corner, which isn't what he wants to be doing, but he needs to maximise his start now if he wants a good one. And we look from the front now. We've just had the sprint and now into the Grand Prix. Deckers then, who takes pole all the way down into turn 1. Can he handle the heat? Here we go then, 5 lights and it's lights out and away we go. And Speed Freak off the line then in second place at the minute and looking for that move on the Alpine. Decker's holding it well at the minute as he's going to burn all the battery that he can to keep himself in front. 60% already down in towards turn 1 and Decker's using half of the battery down in towards the first corner. Speed Freak second place, fighting with a Haas at the minute of Passy, who of course high in the championship standings and high on the grid today as well. As a big collision in the middle of the pack there. Ponton into 4 as Don Pedrito now fighting with a Haas of Andrew Pittsmith, who's looking for a move around the outside line. He loses a place there down to P6 now as Owen, who won the sprint race of course, now looking for a gap while also trying to fend off the racing ball on the backside here. He's now down into 8 as Percival. As behind that, we've got the Williams of Red 44 Dog. He's all the way down to P10 then. He started P6, I believe, and now losing countless places in this Grand Prix at the minute. He does make another place up, though, past the Ferrari of Leeboy QAV, who's had a decent start as Leeboy. He's up 2 places now. Behind that is an Alpine of Pepe's. He's in the same place, but wanting to make a move when he can. And into the stadium section we go. Well, we had 12 laps in the sprint. You have 36 long laps of racing here in the Grand Prix. Up the inside for the Alpine. He finds a gap on the Ferrari. Level pegging then through the final few corners. The Alpine does make that move stick, and Leeboy now has to settle for P11. Pepe's brilliantly through then into P10, then all the way down into the first corner. Long gap though into the place in front of him as Deckers leads by 0.6 of a second. Only 25% battery left, and he's having to use a hell of a lot down the straight to keep himself afloat up at the front. Speed Freak running in 2 then. Both drivers very high in the World Championship standings, and this could come down to them, you know, come season end. I'm not entirely sure what round we're on now. We've been going for a good while, actually, since the start of the season, and we are over half season distance is what I know. But we've got Passy with front row view, so this battle in front of him, and it's soon to happen, very soon. Deck on 38%, battery 46% then for Speed Freak, as the drivers make their way through the technical middle sector. And Deckers, it is no challenge for him at the minute, is it? As he's got 0.8 of a second to the man behind. He's doing a good job at the minute, but he hasn't got as much battery as him, and that is where he's going to fall short. 57% battery as Speed Freak got now. 60 as Deckers only has 48. And that is a pretty big gap then with batteries. The bollard gets hit and we head round the final corner to begin the third lap of 36. 33 to go when we cross the line, and Decker's now over the line, takes the fastest lap. Speed Freak takes it away then. Dom Pedrito now over the line in P5. He goes with the fastest time at this moment. As we now head into the first corner, is Speed Freak looking for a move, and it finally could be the time. Waits back on purpose there as Tur breast into turn one, and it is passing up the inside of Ponton in the kick. Sauber, can the Haas make a brilliant move? He's done it up the inside line. And now Passy into podium places, back in the same place as where he begun this Grand Prix today, and making up on the mistakes that he made at the start of the race. Now the kick Saubers in 4 and 5. P6 is Owen then, like I mentioned before, won the sprint race quite comfortably today, and now he's trying to fight Andrew Pittsmith off from behind in P7. Owen holding P6 at the minute very well. He's down 1 place since the start. He started up in P5. It's not been the greatest of starts for him, but a worse start for Red 44 Dog then, who started in P4 on that starting grid, only 3 laps ago, and now he's down in P10, back where he started in Zandvoort, and the rear is sliding out, and these medium compound tyres are just not working the way he wants them to. Only 3 laps in, and he's experiencing wheel spin like that through the middle sector. They are not working well for him at all, completely overcooked, and it might be time for the hard compound very, very soon. For Red 44 Dog in the mediums, of course, brand new mediums as well. They really shouldn't be degrading like that, but they have. And Speed Freak now for a move, and finally, can he do it? He looks for the outside line, which is arguably harder then to make the move stick. Speed Freak goes for that move on the Alpine. They're level pegging through the first few corners, but Deckers with a better jump on him there. He still maintains the lead, holding on to it with a very firm grasp on lap 4. But a brilliant start to the race, really, really good. And Pepe's in P8 now, fighting with Percival at the back as they bang wheels. Then off the side of the track, there goes Percival, loses out on the Alpine of Pepe's, who does manage to get in front. And the Racing Bull having to drop back a little bit there. All round then goes, we've got Red 44 Dog. 4th place, he begun, now in P13 at the back of the grid, and he's really feeling the medium tyres just fall off underneath him. Only 4 laps in, and they are completely overworked already, which is just crazy. That's it. That is it then for Red. Out of the Mexico City Grand Prix, and that is a safety car then deployed, ladies and gentlemen. Safety car deployed here in Mexico, and that is going to bring some drivers back into the action. It will come out, and the drivers are going to have to catch up to it, I believe. And we'll have about 3 laps under safety car conditions, and then it will be time for racing again. This is it, everybody. First safety car of the night. Are we going to get even more? We might just do. But at the minute, we've got just the 1 safety car in the 5th lap of 36. A long way left in this Grand Prix. And the drivers are going to have to catch up with the safety car, of course. They've got a delta they have to stick to, and if they go over that for a certain amount of time, they will be getting a drive-through penalty, which is quite common. And you do tend to get a driver or 2 that get them on the safety cars. Are we going to get that today? We hope not, because they do completely ruin races, especially for the drivers up at the front. They do not want to be getting a drive-through penalty, because it is a wasted opportunity there. It's straight off them with a 3-second penalty. Same with Davey at the back, and 2 Aston Martins on the same penalty, I believe. And there's your first drive-through. Davey with a drive-through penalty, and for Speedy under the safety car. That's the first one. Like I mentioned, they're quite They're quite common. But if you're just joining us, this is realistic performance, everybody, these cars, in Extinguished Motorsports. So, of course, depending on the pace, I don't think it actually depends on the pace here. I think it just depends on what Stray Dog chooses on the night. You know, any random car for any driver. But pit stops coming in, and everyone on the mediums is going to switch straight onto the hards. And the drivers of Dom Pedrito and Passy that have stayed out on the mediums, I am genuinely very worried for them, because these tyres do not last very long at all. Hopefully, they can bring it home tonight. Lap 6 of 36. We have 30 laps remaining then of the Grand Prix. And now we just wait. Well, we're 7 laps in of 36 and still under that safety car. Just waiting for it to go in now. Then another lot we can do about this. But it is going to bring a lot of drivers into play. And that is exactly what some of them want. Not all of them. Some of the drivers up at the front wouldn't have wanted that, but it has allowed some free pit stops, and the drivers that were struggling on the mediums have managed to go in, apart from Davey and Pepis and Dom Pedrito, who have opted to stay out, which I'm not out there, but by the look of the mediums, that isn't looking like a good call. We'll see what they do, though. Dom Pedrito and Pepis, two very, very skilled drivers here in Extinguished, and, you know, got to trust the strat, see if it works out. Well, we're racing again, everybody. Dom Pedrito down into the first corner then. He's going to try and hold off Pepis, which he's done a good job and locking up then from the Alpine into the first corner. Now that's going to open the door for Leeboy QAV on the hard compound tyres, which are going to be working so much better than the mediums up at the front. This is his first move then. Here comes Leeboy up the inside of Pepis. Will it be a move with the 40% battery braking later? But the Alpine just about holds that then in front. 8 laps in of 36, the safety car has gone away, and Dom Pedrito still leading then on these medium tyres. Pepis 2, 3 is Leeboy QAV then, who was running well. He was running very well in the sprint race, and now, after staying out and not deciding to make a pit stop on the hard compound, running him longer then, he is now up into third place. Gained track position through not going in the pit lane. Now he's got Pepis in front of him for a move. As he goes off wide there a little bit, then off the throttle. And Decker's trying to gain on him as much as he can. Decker's on the brand new hard compound, and this is going to be really working in his favour. He's also got 5% more battery, which isn't a lot, but it will be better for him, as the Ferrari very iffy on the exit there around the final corner. On lap 9 now, is over the line for Deckers and Leeboy. Deck with a very good run up the inside. This is looking very easy for him. And the Alpine up into podium places. Knocks Leeboy off of that P3. And down in towards turn 1, we've got Deckers back again in the podium places on new tyres as well. When Dom Pedrito and Pepes go into the pit lane, it will be Deckers leading this race, and it will be really in the favour of him at the moment. A Stray Dog and Passy then having a bit of a fight now up the inside line for the Haas car, and he's very easily cleared him here. Stray Dog's got a lot of competition going on behind here with the kick Sauber too, so a lot on his plate to think about. Explains why he lost that place in front very easily, and now the DRS activated for this kick Sauber as he goes for the outside line with the help of the ERS as well. A bit early to do so because he's got the main straight coming up, but he does go for the move early on. Now the inside line forcing the Aston Martin wide here. Goes the kick Sauber up the inside, and Ponton now into P7. Stray Dog now was with a fight on Andrew Pittsmith. And now the Williams as well as Owen, who is all of a sudden came out of nowhere. He's now in 8th position and round the outside of Stray Dog. He's now in P8 very easily. DRS activated too, which gives him a bit of the upper hand here. Does Owen. He's now going to try and trail this kick Sauber in front, and behind that is Andrew Pittsmith, and behind that then comes as up the outside goes Percival on Stray Dog, which comes the inside now, and he does get in front for a moment. Well, Dom Pedrito leads, and he's leading well at the minute, but Pepes is fighting with him, and to make matters worse, it is Deckers then in 3rd with the much better tyres, and this is going to really screw up their plan. They are soon to go into the pit lane, surely, on 10-lap old mediums, which are going to be completely fried then in these track conditions in Mexico. Through the stadium section we go, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go into the pit lane this time around. Deckers will become the leader if that happens. Both stay out once again, and he might just get the double overtake here. Then 50% battery left with a bit of DRS as well. Here comes Deckers then on the backside of the Alpine, his teammate for tonight. Both of them going for a move, and it's 3 abreast into the first corner. Pepe's trying to make a move as well. He holds the lead at the minute. Deckers up the inside. He's past 1, locking up then from Pepe's now. It's going to be Deck round the outside into the lead for a brief moment. Has he managed to get it from his teammate? Up the inside on the newer tyres. They're level pegging out of the left-hand side, but it is Deckers who leads now as Pepes has to back off and settles for 2nd place, but not for long as he breaks late up the inside now, trying to reclaim that P1. Fighting on the outside of his teammate, but just not enough grip with those tyres to allow him that move on lap 11 of 36. Deckers leads then, Pepes 2, and Speed Freak now in 3. Passy then up the inside line. Dom Pedrito running a bit wide there. Passy in front. He's now got Leeboy QAV behind him. Leeboy, of course, one of the drivers that didn't make a pit stop on the hards. And on the 10-lap old hards, the same as Stray Dog Racing. As we head up towards the line here, and this could be a good move for the Ferrari if he can make it. But Dom Pedrito looking a bit quick in front of him, to be honest. In the pit lane now then for Pepes, and it is Deckers leading. Speed Freak now has been bumped up to 2. And the top 3 all on equal tyres then. 6-lap old hards. And a 3rd into this Grand Prix at the moment. Well, lap 12 of 36, Deckers leads then by a very nice margin of 1 second at the minute out of the DRS range, but slowly just dropping back into it, corner by corner, fluctuating around. And a third into this Grand Prix now then, 12 laps in, we have got 24 remaining. And it is Owen and Leeboy now having a very nice battle. Here comes the Ferrari then on the Williams up towards the line, and in the pit lane goes the kick Sauber of Ponton then up towards the line then. And the Ferrari of Leeboy looking for a move here on Owen. He's going to try and get a bit of comeback on him. No ERS then for Owen. And of course he won the sprint. Leeboy came second now with the redemption up the inside for the Ferraris. He gets a little bit eager, taps the inside corner. And it's not enough then for a move just there. He actually lost out a hell of a lot, and now Ponton's going to try and get in on him. The Ferrari running it very wide there, nearly onto the grass and forcing the kick Sauber with no place to go. He gets a time penalty because of that as well, and now he goes wide again. DRS activated for Ponton there, but just not enough to actually do anything useful. As lap 13 of 36, and then we cross the line with Deck. He's got a 6/10 of a second gap to Speed Freak, and he's not going to shake him off anytime soon. Both on equal tyres then, same as Passy as well. He's not too far behind that either. Now look who's on the backside. Passy's gained on Speed Freak, and the top three now are definitely within a fighting range on lap 14. Decker's leading, Speed Freak 2, Passy in 3, and this is going to be a very nice showdown then for the drivers. 8-lap-old cars. They made the pit stop then on the random safety car we got in the early stages. 8-lap-old tyres, 14 laps in. We'll see what they go on to later, or are they going to try and make these go till the end? Is that the strategy? We'll find out, but I don't know if that's going to work, given how fast tyres can drop off around here. Not too far away from that 10-lap mark as well, where the mediums are completely fried 10 laps in. And, you know, are the hards going to get over that quite comfortably? They should do. Yellow flags their middle sector, and somebody has gone around there. Or at least they did go around. They're back on the track and getting going quite easily again. Then down in towards turn 1 we go, and Speed Freak with the 4/10 of a second gap. He is slowly but surely gaining on the Alpine in front, but it isn't enough for an actual move yet on the 15th lap. There's Andrew Pittsmith now in the pit lane, and he gets on hard compound tyres. From the hards already he was on, I believe. Oh, the kick Sauber around. That might just be Ponton then into the barrier. That is a huge hit. Is that a safety car again? It's definitely a virtual safety car. Is he trying to bring a safety car out here? He is. Surely. Oh, yeah, he's trying to crash out on purpose. Is Ponton. Which is surely going to be... This is going to be the steward's office, I believe. Well, virtual safety car, everybody. No full safety car out. Ponton in the pit lane. He will retire now then after having a bit of a poor end there. Lap 16 of 36. 20 laps remaining of this Grand Prix. We aren't far away from half race distance now as Deckers is your leader under the virtual safety car. And it will not be long before we get racing again. Well, we're racing again. DRS gets back enabled, and that is a brilliant jump then, isn't it, for Passy? Up the inside is Speed Freak. He's now into P2 with a lovely move. All on equal tyres then, and Speed Freak's going to have to do a bit of fighting here to get it back. Deckers now leads still, and all of this battling behind him is going to allow him to try and break that DRS barrier of 1 whole second. Passy then in P2 right now. Speed Freak dropping all the way down by 0.6 of a second down in towards turn 1 we go then. Passy gaining on Deckers here. Well, a great race so far then on lap 17 of 36, and we are 1 lap away from the half race distance. How fast has that gone here in the Grand Prix then, everybody? Deckers leads from Passy, from Speed Freak, and the rest of the drivers have been spread out quite a bit. Leeboy QAV still running today in P7. He's retired quite a lot recently, but he's here then running in 7, and this will be points for him at the minute. With 6.1 seconds to Pepe's in front, and it is more than doable then if he wants to try and get it. As lap 18 begins, that is your half race distance then. Here comes the DRS for Passy with Don Pedrito a penalty as well, and we gain towards turn 1. 30% battery as well. The same for Deckers, who's burning as much as he can. But the Haas is catching the Alpine very quickly here. Not enough into the first corner, but he is right on his gearbox now. And straight up with a 3-second time penalty, everybody. At this moment in time, which isn't what he wants to be seeing. Penalties on your screen then at the minute. It's 6 for Don Pedrito, 6 for Stray Dog and Davey, and Andrew Pittsmith running with 3. Everybody else then has not got a penalty at all, and that is going to be very nice for them, because the penalties, you know, if you're in a high place, they can really screw your race up. But this top 3 at the minute looking strong. I might have a look at the race director soon, see if any of these top 3 have had any incidents. But at the minute, they're looking fairly clean, and I think Passy might just be able to pull off the move on Deckers here. I really, really do. Both in non-ERS mode, as Perceivable with a 3-second time penalty. And adding to the tally then for all the drivers here today, it's Perceivable now in P5. He picks up 1. And at the minute, that isn't going to change anything for him. Leeboy QAV with a 3-second time penalty, ladies and gentlemen. All the way down in towards the first corner we go then. And a move happening here. It is Speed Freak on the backside of the Haas of Passy, but still not enough. In lap by lap, we're just waiting for it to happen. But the Haas, not close enough for Deck, and Speed Freak, not close enough for Passy. We're just waiting for it. DRS now enabled again for both drivers here in 2nd and 3rd. Passy looking close up the inside, still not enough for the Haas car at the minute then. Lap 19 of 36, and still a long way to go there in this race. We've got Passy on the backside of Deckers here, and for the first time today, is he going to be overtaken? Both of them on the 13-lap old hard compound, which surely are going to start to be dropping off just slightly then at the minute. They're not going to be in the brilliant working condition that they once were. Just which driver can manage them better. Sliding out of the final corner then for Passy there, and that is going to really minimise, you know, the damage he could have caused on Deckers here. The Speed Freak now looking for a move on Passy. Not enough for a move up the inside line, unfortunately here. He does hold back. Passy holding in second place, and we have got Deckers then, still the man in front and leading. He took pole today and he's led every single lap of the Grand Prix, really, apart from the few where they all made a pit stop. This is a move here for Speed Freak on Passy then. Oh, Leeboy QAV then at the back of the grid. He spins around and he's finding himself sideways and backwards into a barrier. The Ferrari on the 4-lap old hards now enters the track again, but that might be race ending for him then with a time penalty and damaged tyres. He might be a bit unmotivated now to carry on. A Speed Freak coming out of the pits in the Racing Bull on brand new hard compound tyres. Now, how well is that going to work for him in these remaining laps? Passy not far off a move here. Yellow flags, and it is going to be Leeboy in the pit lane to retire once again, and no more points scored for him. Such a shame, because his sprint race was pretty damn good. It really was. And then, of course, the Grand Prix didn't really go exactly how he wanted it, but he was running in the points until that spin where it all came crashing down. But for one man at the top of Deckers, it has gone his way massively so far. He has got Passy behind him, though, and causing him a huge headache as his rears slide out and both of them go in the pit lane. Passy reacts to Deckers here then. When I pitted, did double hards, so would have finished like 9th. Oh, fair enough. In the pit lane then for both of the front runners, and it is new hards again for Passy and Deckers. As Pepe's now in the pit lane as well, he'll be doing the exact same thing then. Very old mediums, they're going to be working awful, which explains why he's coming to the pit lane now then. Lap 22, and Owen, who won the sprint race, now getting a taste of that leading life again. Owen up in 1. Can't be asked doing 16 laps of P9. That's fair enough, mate. No worries. See you in a bit, Drew. Thanks for joining us tonight. Well, we look behind, and that's a brilliant move then. Speed Freak now into P2, past his Racing Bull teammate for tonight. Perceivable down to 3, with not a lot of battery left in his car at all. We have 13 remaining laps of the Grand Prix then. And Leeboy, Ponton and Red 44 Dog, all drivers out of this Grand Prix. Only 10 more remain then. And then we are complete. We are done with tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we do have your interviews coming up after this. Then we're completely done. It's Passy and Decker's fighting here. Then Deck round the outside line of Passy. These guys, of course, should be fighting up at the front, but waiting for the guys in front of them to make their pit stops, if they even do. Deck loses out massively there, and the other Haas car of Passy trying to catch Perceivable here, and he is going to catch him out sooner than later. With the DRS now and a bit of battery to help him for good measure, looking up the inside line, then he's going to make a very late lunge, passing now into the podium places with a brilliant move. This Deck is going to try the exact same thing. There's a battery enabled for him in the pit lane for Perceivable in the Racing Bull, who on 18 lap old hards is very much due a pit stop now. Then it will be the hards till the end, you can only assume, or it's the mediums waiting for him. Are they going to work? We've got 12 laps left. We saw the mediums really not working that well in the sprint. 12 laps in the sprint was not too long, but with mediums wasn't too fun. Up the inside line then, as the Alpine trying to make a move on the Haas at the minute, and it is Passy who just about holds out on third. Deckers now, who started on pole today, he's down in 4 at the minute and trying to fight back for his places. Out of the podium at the minute for him. As he does what he can though, does Deckers, trying to gain as much as he can on the guys in front. And the action very much spread out then across the pack today, as Owen in the race lead has now made a pit stop on the 19 lap old hards. Completely done for, and he will go on to the mediums till the end then for 11 remaining laps. Speed Freak now leads on brand new hards, as well as Passy and Deckers, and Deck with a very easy move. Passy is a sitting duck on the straight then. Through goes Deckers for he thought it was an easy move, but it's just not enough there. Backing off, and the Haas with a very, very much better jump then. Here he goes round and into second place. Deck now holding out. Back up the inside, and the pole sitter running it very deep and forcing the Haas off. He goes right off the track there then onto the grass, and that is going to be time lost. Deck does slow down. The Haas moves out of the way, and I think he had to let him through there. I really do think he did. We'll pass you back into P2, and Deck is now holding the P3 podium place. %, battery and a bit of DRS and a bit of a dream then here for Deck then to try and gain on Passy up the inside. That was a brilliant pass, and he this time round was a sitting duck, was the Haas. As now Deckers finds second place, and he has 5.6 seconds to gain in the space of 10 laps to make that move on Speed Freak and take that win, ladies and gentlemen. Deck, who started on pole, has got a bit of a challenge on his hands now then to actually win this Grand Prix. But even then, it's looking like we're going to get a Deckers podium. I'm going to speak to him once again, which is what we want. bit of a yellow flag, and it's Don Pedrito who now goes into the pits on 14-lap-old tyres. It is definitely going to be the mediums till the end now then, as we don't have too much longer. About 9 laps left of the Mexico City Grand Prix, as the mediums definitely do go on there. Just trying to find what we can see going on then. Locking up hugely there for Pepes, who runs in 6th at the minute. Percival doing what he can to gain, but with a time penalty as well, you know, there's not too much time left. There really isn't to make some big impressions. But this is your closest battle at the minute, at about 0.6 of a second to Deckers is Passy, and that gap's getting bigger. Dex trying to close the gap now on Speed Freak, and it was 6 seconds a moment ago, now 5.2, so it is working. The gap is coming down slowly but surely. Well, 28 then of 36, everybody in the racing, of course, as you can see, is hugely died down at the minute. We have got Percival only 0.8 of a second behind Pepe, but like I mentioned before, he has got a time penalty, and I think that's a 6-second, no, it's a 3-second time penalty to his name, which of course still is not what you want at all. Here comes Patty then on Deckers, and Patty was dropping off, but this time he's managed to gain heaps of battery. Dex using all these got, and he will soon start to be a little bit slower than Passy here, but I don't think there'll be enough road for a good enough move. There's 7 laps remaining. Andrew Pittsmith with a 3-second time penalty. 6 for AP, 3 for Percival, 6 for Don Pedrito, 6 for Stray Dog, 12 for Davey, who holds the biggest penalty today. Lap 30 begins then, and 6 more remaining laps of the Mexico City circuit to his Speed Freak as your leader, and the gap between him and Deckers has come down significantly, only 3.5 now, but he's going to be struggling here. Passy behind him, he's having to burn a lot, really, to keep, you know, that good enough of a gap between him and Passy. And Passy now has all of a sudden closed in on him with only 0.5 of a second the gap. How many warnings has Speed Freak got? He's asking. Warnings for Speed Freak. Let's have a look. Incidents. Speed Freak with 1 there. Let's have a look. I believe Speed Freak has 1 warning, mate. I think there's 1 warning there for him. Yeah, Speed Freak with 1 warning on lap 1, so he's done a good job at the minute. 1 warning for him, and he leads with a 2.8 second gap, and he really could do this, but Deckers is closing that gap fairly quickly, and maybe he's going to start to worry, but Passy is now making his life a little bit harder and cuts in the corner a little bit there then as he really minimises the exit. Unfortunately, loses countless bits of time, and it is now under a second then, over a second, sorry, for Passy. As Deckers is able to just run away a little bit there for that one then and breathe a bit easier as he now tries to gain on Speed Freak in the final remaining laps of the Grand Prix, where he could be a race winner again here in Extinguished Motorsports. It's now lap 33 or 36, and Leeboy, Ponton and Red 44 Dog, all drivers to retire from today's session. Only 10 remaining then here in the Mexico City for Extinguished Motorsports. And the action, of course, hugely died down today, but it's Stray Dog and Davey who aren't too far behind each other. I think one's left the session. It is Davey then, who isn't actually here today. He might be here. He went ghosted for a bit there. But this is where Speed Freak might be a bit worried then. The gap that was once 6 seconds a few laps ago has been brought down to 1.3 and nearly below that just then as well. It's a bit of a worrying time for Speed Freak, who is on the verge of winning a Grand Prix again here in Extinguished Motorsports. But Deckers could be taking that chance away from him, and as soon as he gets within a second, that's when it gets pretty worrying for the Racing Bull. Still about 3 laps left of the Grand Prix. And I think it's going to happen for Deck. I really, really do. 1.3 seconds there, only 17% battery for Speed Freak. Same for Deckers as well, and both pretty equal. But Deckers got to try and keep Passy at bay as well. So we've got 2 things going on at once here. And he's fighting hard, he really is. Passy wants this one then, everybody on deck. And we are coming round then to start the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Passy with a 3-second penalty, and he'll be completely out of it now then with the DRS as well, helping him down into turn 1. But with a time penalty, it is pretty much over for Passy now. It's just going to be between Deckers and Speed Freak with a 1.2 second gap in only 2 seconds to do it. Is it possible? Can Speed Freak maintain it? Deckers is really fighting for this one then. He's just gained 3/10 of a second then in 3 corners. Now just about under a second, and he could take it on the final 2 laps then of the Grand Prix tonight. Speed Freak has driven a brilliant race, but equally, Deckers has driven a good one as well. We had a safety car earlier on, which threw a spanner in the works then, and Deck then fell down the order a little bit, and he's been having to make up some time on Speed Freak, which was once 6 seconds. Now it is 8/10 of a second, now 7/10 of a second then, and the DRS will be activated down here. He's finally within the DRS range. Not a lot of battery here. There was one of the Aston Martins then into the barrier there. It's looking like Davey, who has hit the wall, now getting in the way of this little battle going on to the final lap of the Grand Prix, everybody. With an insane sprint race onto the Grand Prix, which has been equally as good, and Speed Freak has been holding this one well, but only 5/10 of a second the gap now, because he's gained a lot of battery, and that's going to help him now down the straight. No battery for Deckers now on the final lap, and he might just lose out on his P1 here. Speed Freak could hold it, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a great race from him in the Racing Bull, who at the minute is looking very dominant over Deckers, 7/10 of a second. Oh, Deckers got a penalty, hasn't he? I've completely overlooked that. It's going to be Speed Freak's day then. Completely overlooked the penalties, my bad. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's pretty much wrapped then. It's pretty much wraps for our drivers, with Speed Freak the man in front, and with no time penalties for his name and only 1 warning on the first lap of 36. It is looking like he's going to go ahead and win this one tonight. Decker's not too far behind him, but with a 3-second time penalty, it's going to completely screw up his plans. Same with Passy here then, as they go into the final third. And after an absolutely brilliant race then from the Racing Bull of Speed Freak 52, with a half a second gap to Deckers behind, he's managed to fend him off, and a 6-second gap has come down to 5/10, but because of a 3-second time penalty, it all gets lost for Deckers. But the glory all goes to Speed Freak then, as he wins the Mexico City Grand Prix here in Mexico. It's going to be Decker's second place, and Passy lines up in third, ladies and gentlemen. 36 laps of racing. And Speed Freak managed to take it at the end. Absolutely brilliant then for Speed Freak. He's going to be buzzing with that, and it's a win then in the Racing Bull. Decker's P2, Passy 3, Pepe's 4, Owen will cross the line in 5. Six will be Don Pedrito. P7 going to be Percival then when he comes towards the line. As do not forget, ladies and gentlemen, we will be having your post-race interviews as well in a minute, and hopefully Deck wants to speak again, because we do like speaking to him now. Hopefully it becomes a regular thing. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brilliant race on Speed Freak and Deck and Passy, of course, as well, and everybody else. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, your post-race interviews then are going to be coming your way any second now. Bear with me a sec, and we're going to get them coming your way then. As we'll get to Deck first, I believe, because he's looking like he is he's in there first. Mate, it's good to see you. You all right? Absolutely. Right, let me just go on. Fair enough. Right.
Nah, do Owen first, please.
Okay.
Why do you want?
I'll speak to you. I'll speak to you if you want, Owen. I'll speak to you if you want.
You might as well.
Good stuff. Well, taking the sprint win, mate. What's your thoughts on that? Pretty good, right?
Yeah, even though that was so bad around this track, I don't know how I did it. Me and Lee and Speed Freak were pretty much close together from ever since Speed Freak was released from that DRS train, which was I think led by Percival, I'm assuming. But yeah, a sprint win. Honestly, I'm just happy.
Good stuff.
So,
I'm glad to hear it, mate. What were the tyres like? Because they looked pretty bad, especially on the mediums.
well, in the sprint, I decided to go for a set of hards, which actually worked pretty well.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Because yeah, me, Andrew, Stray, and Deckers were in a PS5 together, all of us. And lap 5, lap 6, the medium tires started to go. So I knew from there point onwards, I knew I made a good decision.
Good stuff. Well, taking the win there. Of course, not the win in the main race, but do you think that's give you some confidence then going into maybe? Well, obviously you don't know what race the next one is, but you think you get a bit more confidence off the back of that going into the next race?
Well, really, it depends what track it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it's like not one of my strongest tracks, then I am screwed. Yeah, I wasn't in a fight for that main race win because I made a pretty bad call.
Yeah.
On that first safety car, I should have just stayed on my first set of hards, and if I went now, I'd have possibly challenged for maybe P3 if I was lucky.
Well, appreciate the chat, mate. Good luck next week.
No problem, man.
Deckers, let's have a chat, mate.
Yo.
Good to see you back again, mate. 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, man. It was like, man, I was actually like sweating there, man, trying to catch Speed Freak.
So,
Honestly,
second place. What's your thoughts, mate?
I should have got first, to be honest. It was a masterclass from Speed Freak on his strategy, and then his teammate holding me up on that one lap as well. It worked wonders for him.
Do you think that's what is that what ruined it? Do you think?
That and the fact that he got DRS on the last lap from Davey. I was gutted.
It's a shame. Were you experiencing tyre troubles as well, or were you pretty happy with the strategy today?
Well, I was sliding, but it wasn't like too bad. Obviously, I knew it was Mexico, so I went harder balance. Harder strategy. But yeah, the strategy went well. It was just I should have pitted one lap earlier on them hard.
Yeah. Well, I've got to say, twice in a row in the interview room is pretty good. Do you think you can do it next week?
Like Owen said, it depends on the map, but hopefully.
W.
Good stuff. We can only hope for a good track. Well, appreciate your time, mate. Thanks for joining once again.
Yeah, I'll see you next week, mate.
I will see you next week, mate. See you in a bit.
GG's, Deckers.
Speed Freak, what sort of pace do you have?
Oh, I don't know.
You were bossing it.
Pulled some out of my arse there, I think.
Give us your thoughts on that, mate. Speed Freak. How do you think it went?
Oh, how did it go? I don't think it could have gone any better, to be honest. Apart from the sprint maybe getting away from the queue and a bit longer to catch Owen and Drew.
You're not catching me.
Other than that, it's a crazy drive.
Were you not expecting getting that result today then?
Not a win. Not with how I usually get close. I'm fighting for a podium, maybe just, but penalties seem to cost me quite a bit sometimes.
Yeah.
And then just usually make a mistake or two. But no, it was a fun race.
Definitely. It's good to see you on the top spot. I think you only got one warning as well in the whole race. I'm pretty sure.
I know I got one earlier on. It was a bit scrappy at the start.
Yeah.
So I think it was just kind of trying to weave through a bit of traffic. I started second, I think. So I think I was just pushing. But yeah, but like after the safety car I
Yeah.
hit, and I just wasn't getting any like. So someone took fastest lap off me, and it just didn't come up. I only saw that the purple went from my name, so I wasn't getting any warnings or anything.
That was
So that
me, by the
was
way.
that was scary. I just didn't know if I
Yeah.
was on my last one. So when
Mhm.
Dex and Passy got past my teammate again, I
You
was
thought it's game on.
I wasn't taking it safe, but I was definitely taking it a bit easy, especially
enough.
through
Yeah.
sector 2 because I was running quite high wings. So
Fair
if I
enough.
get like one bad entry or anything,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
it's going to be either a heavy lift and lose a lot of time, or maybe eat a warning if I had one or two spare. But yeah,
Good stuff. Well, I'm sure you're happy with that, mate. I really am, and I wish you the best of luck next week. But it's good to see you in a good finishing place. It really is.
thank
For
you very
once.
much.
No
I
worries.
know.
Mm. Bro, the
Nice to
way
see you
you,
finish.
bro, no, honestly, the way, honestly, no, honestly, no, literally, Deckers was literally angry that you got DRS on the last lap.
Yeah, so I was talking to him in chat a bit. But no,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, man, you're fine, man.
Right. Cheers for your time, guys. Thank you very much.
No
Have a
worries,
nice
man. You're
night.
good, man.
See you in a bit.
Thanks for
We'll
having
see you
us.
next week.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are done for Extinguished Motorsports. Race highlight video coming your way tomorrow night. Have a good evening and good night.